Here with reaction, let's give a warm welcome. The co-host of the hit show, The Five, Judge Jeanine Pirro is here. Appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Boy.
All right, this is serious. I don't want to waste a minute with you because you have so much to say. And this is important. So I believe this indictment is real. I think we're going to see it, if not this week, probably sometime next week.
Yes.
Okay, they might indict Hunter right around the same time, but it's going to be on a gun application charge and tax charges. None of the things that Comer's investigating about China and Ukraine and Russia and monies and suspicious activity reports and shell corporations. Okay.
And foreign lobbying and not registering as a foreign agent. Remember, Paul Manafort was in solitary confinement for that, wasn't he?
Nearly 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so here's my question. I don't think they're going after Donald Trump on the issue of documents.
No, they can't.
Okay, so if they do, they have to go after Joe, and they have to go after Hillary.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So I'm guessing, tell me if I'm wrong, that they're going to go after process crime.
Of course they're going after a process crime. They can't possibly go after Donald Trump for these documents. First of all, Hillary, let's get her out of the way right away. She was never a president. She was never a vice president. She wants to be. I think she still wants to run, but that's another issue. And the truth is, for her to have these classified documents on a private email that Jim Comey said probably was hacked by a foreign government, that she then destroyed, which is obstruction of evidence, tampering with evidence, and 33,000 emails.
33,000 subpoenaed emails.
Subpoenaed emails. She knew about the subpoena. She knew it was relevant to the investigation into Benghazi. Okay, so you absolutely cannot let her go, not even mentioning what happened with Durham and the Durham investigation. Now, as it relates to Joe Biden, what we have right now is we have something like, I don't know, 1,850 boxes from when he was a senator. He's got records from when he was a senator, not even allowed to have information that's classified in various places in 4 different locations, classified. But they're not going after him. So the only way they can go after Donald Trump is say, oh, somehow he obstructed something or he did something to stop us from getting this information when he was working with the agency that's in charge of these documents.
All right, let's talk about, so originally the grand jury we heard was in Washington, D.C. We thought the document case would be in Washington, D.C. Little did we know that there was another grand jury convened, and this one in Miami, which would be where the jurisdiction of Mar-a-Lago is.
Right.
Does that mean that the J6 investigation aspect of the special counsel is in D.C. and the Mar-a-Lago case is in Miami? Because I don't think Donald Trump would have a shot in hell getting a fair jury in D.C. or New York or, frankly, Fulton County, Georgia, for that matter.
Right, there's no question. But
maybe Miami.
Maybe Miami. You know, what you've got is the January 6th event. I don't know if they have anything there. I don't know that they have evidence that they believe as prosecutors
they do.
can prove beyond
Many of you will now
doubt.
peacefully and patriotically march so your voices can be heard.
Yeah, that crime. I forgot about that one. But what's going on in Mar-a-Lago and the way they took him down, the way they went in there, I mean, it is shocking what they did. But this is a dual system of justice. There is no question that there is a system for the Bidens and his son. And by the way, if they do indict Hunter Biden, I don't know anyone who's paid $2.5 million in taxes, in back taxes, who hasn't gone to jail. I mean, that in itself is
By the way, what about
enough.
the guy that gave him the money, lends him the jet to go to his custody hearings because he doesn't want to pay for his own...
Yeah, his own... Oh, you mean the grandchild that the Bidens forgot about? I know Joe's forgetting things,
well,
but I think he forgot his fourth granddaughter.
They say they have 6 grandchildren.
Right.
They have a 7th one, and they only put 6 up on, I guess, the fireplace.
Well, you forgot.
The dog.
The dog.
The dog had one.
They have a stocking for the dog.
How do you ignore a 4-year-old innocent little girl who is your biological granddaughter? That Joe and Jill Biden, where is your heart, your soul, and your conscience? That girl did nothing wrong. Acknowledge that little girl.
And it gets worse than that, Sean. Look, it goes to the character of the Bidens. They're supposed to be so empathic. They're supposed to be so kind. The truth is, they objected to that little girl having Biden as a last name. They went to court to stop that. They had to go to court.
By the way, I would kind of think that might be a special gift if she doesn't have the last name. But
Well, given the organized criminal enterprise that we've seen,
I tell my
Biden,
kids not to use my last name. So, you know. All right, but let me ask you this, because let's go to the one case that we do know. Yeah. Let's go to the quid pro quo. This is Joe Biden on tape bragging. Oh, he said, I was in Ukraine. He had $1 billion taxpayer dollars, $1 billion. And he said, I'm not giving you the billion unless you fire a prosecutor. Why would a vice president ever want a prosecutor in Ukraine fired? That's odd, right? Very strange.
Well, you know why it makes sense? It makes sense because that was a company that his son was working for and making $50,000 or $80,000 a month.
I'm walking everybody through this slower.
You want to walk it through? Okay.
Okay. So no vice president would ever want a prosecutor in Ukraine fired, right? And he says, you got 6 hours to do it. And he's bragging, telling the story after the fact. Son of a bee, they fired him. Yeah. Okay, that prosecutor, now you can take it from there.
Okay, so that prosecutor ends up getting fired. But here's the outrage. The outrage is that a president of the United States would wrap himself in the flag of this country and all the power and prestige that goes with that flag and go into a country and say, if you don't get rid of this prosecutor on this individual company, by the way, that my son and all his buddies are getting money from, I'm not going to give you $1 billion from the United States. That's our taxpayers' dollars. And you know what? He's dumb enough to come out and say he said it. That, as far as I'm concerned, is a pay-to-play.
And wait, and add to it, I mentioned earlier, Hunter on Good Morning America, no experience getting paid all this money. Listen.
He's got no experience, and Joe knows nothing about his foreign businesses. Yeah. Are you kidding? Why would he lie about that? That's called consciousness of guilt.
All right, let me ask you a final question.
Yes.
And we appreciate you being here.
We're kind of ending each other's sentences.
No, that's true. I want to ask you about how does this impact Donald Trump's run for the presidency? Because I don't think it's just going to be this special counsel. I believe Fulton County's a done deal, too. I think so. He's now going to be facing New York, Fulton County, Miami, and then maybe Miami and D.C. with legal problems. This is not a small issue. How do you run successfully for president with all of that hanging over your head the whole time?
Well, first of all, I think Donald Trump has proven, based upon his 4 years in office, that he can withstand what none of us could withstand. I mean, I'd be hiding under a desk. All right? That's number one. Number two, you know, maybe one indictment, maybe one. But if you do 2, 3, 4 indictments, then you will have poked the eye of the tiger at that point. I think Americans see a dual system of justice. We see it on the local level with the defunding of police. We see it on the federal level with the Department of Justice calling parents domestic terrorists, and with the non-indictment of people that we know viscerally should be charged with a crime. I think it inures to his benefit, and I think in the end, people will see it that way.
All right, Judge Jeanine, great to see you.